Oh, Pam Fam, how you doing, Pam Fam? Welcome back. Sorry to say, but you joined me at a terrible time. This is not a good time, but welcome back to the Minecraft Guide, episode number 59. Very high. So, today, we're actually really low. You joined me while I'm in the nether, about the worst place ever. I'm down over in the nether for quartz. We need lots of quartz for today's episode, and I was just very unimpressed with the amount of quartz that we got from our stockpile in the last episode, so I figured this would probably be a little bit more reliable. Now, how much quartz? Well, I'm aiming for at least 4 stacks, which I actually almost have, but probably more. We're gonna use quartz in today's build, and we just don't have a lot stocked up. By the way, I did find this. This is brand new. This is definitely not the one that I've seen before, so we'll have to come back later. I've kind of been unintentionally completely neglecting nether fortresses this time around, so yep, I'll have to come back there and give that thing a little bit of love. But for now, quartz. Quartz is definitely the best thing in the world. That was dangerous. We're gonna go ahead and do that. You're gonna just stay in there. Goodbye, lava. That's exactly what I thought. But anyways, Pam Fam, we have a little bit of work to do before we can dive into today's project, which is going to be really cool. So I'm going to go ahead and continue gathering resources over here in the nether, then slide over into the overworld and get the other resources that we need as well. I'm thinking black concrete, but thankfully for the concrete, we should have everything that we need in our storage building already. Pam, you're gonna be happy because today you're the star, Pam. Yes, you. It's finally your day. So, elites, I've seen a lot of requests for Pam to get her own house, and I am answering those requests today. We're gonna build a really nice house for Pam that I think Pam will love, and it's gonna be really fun. Now, today's project is actually only part 1 of probably 2 parts. I think the construction of Pam's new house is probably going to take like 2 episodes time. Today we'll focus on the structure. In the next episode we'll focus on all of the cool details. Now, Pam's house is actually going to be very different when compared to anything that we built in this world so far up until this point, other than maybe, and this is a big maybe, other than maybe one building. That building would be our starter house that you definitely can't see from here. I thought I would be able to see the starter house from here. You guys know what the starter house looks like though. But yeah, we're gonna completely switch up styles today, which should be really fun, and actually it should be interesting because this is a style that I love, but I'm not necessarily the best at working with. Today, we'll be building in a bit of a modern or suburban style. I'm not too sure of the exact word, so we're just going to go ahead and call it a modern building style. Today, we're building Pam a beautiful modern home. It's brand new construction, worth a lot of money. If this were to be worth money, it's going to be good. Pam's going to love it. Now, this is actually a topic that I've received a lot of requests for, not only building Pam's house, but building in this style. Modern building in Minecraft is kind of tricky because if you haven't noticed, a lot of the blocks in Minecraft sort of fit this medieval feel. It's just really the textures. I mean, you have the cobblestone, you have stone bricks, you have really the wood, like everything that you build, it can easily become some sort of medieval castle looking build, which is cool and it's good, but it sort of makes building more modern things very tricky. So first, let's go ahead and talk about our block palette. Our block palette it's going to be a different palette. Definitely a palette that we haven't worked with so far. This right here that I'm placing down is going to be our block palette. We'll be using lots of bone blocks actually. We'll be using concrete, birch wood, cobblestone, smooth stone, and then we'll actually be using some oak wood as well in the build as a bit of an accent. Now, these won't be the only blocks that we use, but these will be probably the main blocks that we're using in today's build. I have gone ahead and moved a bunch of resources over here, and the quartz, we'll be using quartz as well. The quartz, I did pretty well. This will give us 4 stacks of quartz blocks, and then a little bit more. That should be way more than enough. But let's go ahead and talk about modern building palettes really quick, because they're kind of tricky to accomplish in Minecraft. Like I was just saying, a lot of the blocks in Minecraft sort of have this medieval feel. If you don't pick and use your blocks just right, your modern house will turn into a medieval house, and it just won't exactly fit the feel. To avoid a medieval feel, or just I guess whatever you want to call it type of feel, and get that modern feel, you need to use specific types of blocks. Those specific types of blocks are blocks that are a whole lot more flat, plain, and empty. So take a look at the bone block and the concrete block. Those blocks are very, very plain, flat, empty. The stone block over here, the smooth one, that is very flat, plain, and empty as well. If we take a look at, say, the armory in the background, those logs are beautiful, the stone bricks are really nice, and the wood's cool too, but it all combines into this medieval feel. That's because those textures are so busy, and personally, I think it's kind of a subconscious thing as well. You see castles built all the time with those blocks, so you're gonna kind of think about a castle, right? I don't know, at least that's me. To emphasize and stick to a more modern feel, avoid using a bunch of logs, a bunch of stone, even stone bricks, which pains me to say, and wood. You need to keep those things to a minimum and keep the flat tones to a maximum. Some great blocks that tend to work really well in a more modern build theme are the concrete blocks, any color, terracotta blocks, again, any color, and we're talking the normal terracotta, not the glazed stuff, I don't know what that stuff is, stone, and then even wool if you have to. Now, wool has that interesting fuzzy texture, so that's not going to be the best, but it would work. Theoretically, it would work. It would just be a little intense. The colors are strong, and that texture is not the best. Things like wood planks, cobblestone, and actually stone bricks, the thing that I just told you to not use, work as nice accent blocks in this build palette. So our house won't be built out of wood, but we will have a wooden roof because that'll work. It'll look good. We'll have a little bit of cobblestone to add some detail, but not too much. Long story short, if you're trying to go for a modern build, pick blocks that are a little bit more flat and empty. Quartz is great for this as well, but quartz can get very expensive, so bone blocks are a nice cheaper alternative. Not that I need to use a cheaper alternative, I just think bone blocks are going to look really nice. I like the texture. Okay, so that just about sorts out the block palette. Now we need to find a build site for Pam's house. Now the build site is going to be over here. So I was watching a show, and it was talking about like cities that the I think it was the US government used to build in like the 50s and the 60s. They would build these cities in the desert, like in Nevada and stuff. They were really cool. I'm not too sure what they were for. I sort of stopped watching by that point, but yeah, the government would build these really nice looking cities, fully stock them. I don't know if people would live there, but they'd build them in the desert. So I was thinking that we could just build the city over here in the desert, but then I kind of remembered that we did Watlantis over there, and that's an entire desert city. So we're gonna kind of build in the desert because it's an open area, but we're also not really. I did a bunch of terraforming, and I'm thinking over here we could build a brand new subdivision of a bunch of new houses eventually, maybe. See, the plan is to get other pets just like Pam eventually, and maybe those pets can have houses over here. I don't know. I think having buildings over here will help this area feel a whole lot more complete, because as it stands right now, it's really flat and open, and I don't really like it. So desert city, but not in the desert, and it will be located over here. So that's the location, and now we need to go ahead and start the build. So to start the build, we're actually going to use some cobblestone. This won't actually be used in the build how we're using it. We're just trying to create an outline here. So if you're trying to build a modern house, a great thing to do is to basically start with an outline, like a square. A square is an easy shape to do in Minecraft. We're actually going to step things up a little bit and start with a rectangle. So I'm thinking that the front corner of our house will be right here. We'll have like a wall going up, probably with black concrete. Then I'd like to do a 2-wide window, then another like part of the wall going up, then the door, then another part of the wall going up, 2-wide window, boom, just like that. So what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 9 blocks long on the front. That should be good, and we should have room to do like a sidewalk out here. I think maybe we want to just push this back like 2 blocks just to be safe. I'd like to do like a sidewalk out front in case we do other houses in this area. So we'll go ahead and actually remove all of this, just get the black concrete right now and do our front wall. Oh, yeah, I'm feeling a lot better about the moving the house back thing. That's good, because I almost forgot. I want a small front porch on this build. Now, small means small. I'm thinking like 2 blocks. That's it. Not much of a porch here. Now, on the side over here, I'm thinking that we could do maybe a side that's 7 blocks long. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, just like that. Then, what could we do here? We could do maybe window. Oh, yeah, that's perfect. We could do windows just like that, and then we have the back of the build. Now, we're gonna use black concrete for a lot of the structure, which means it's going to be very, very dark. To keep things nice and bright, if you're using black concrete like me, on the inside, you're going to want to have a lot of windows. So I'm thinking that maybe this whole back wall over here will be a wraparound window. That'll keep things open. This will be dark, but we'll put things inside of the build, like paintings and stuff, to make it a little bit brighter. The front will pretty much be all windows as well, so that'll keep things nice and open. Now, on this side of the house, I'd like to put a garage. Now, I don't think Pam can actually drive, but if Pam were driving, she would need a garage. So, let's see. We'll do cobblestone as the base block. I think that'll be good. And maybe the garage could go out to here, and then let's say we do we do a 3 wide garage? 3 could be nice. That could be nice. Let's see. So, yeah, I think that should stick out that far. That's good. And then we're going to do bone blocks on the garage as well. But how, like, wide should it be? I think it should be 4 blocks wide. So I'm thinking we'll do a little bit more terraforming and make the garage door 4 blocks wide, maybe. Decisions. Oh, man. Okay, you know what? Let's do this. We'll go 4 wide. 1, 2, 3, 4. But instead of wrapping around the corner there to keep things nice and small, we'll just do this. The garage we'll put a door in here, but there won't be any corners at all. So on a modern build palette, on a modern build like this one here, depth is good, but depth is also potentially very, very bad. Let's say over here, I wanted to have this pop out. This might actually work, and maybe we'll do that for the front door. But if we were using like a different block here to do like, you know, our normal log pillar, and then we have things set in like the stone bricks, but instead of stone bricks, we have concrete. Yeah, if we're doing the whole pillar look, things are going to need to get large, like very, very large. So on a more modern build, don't be afraid of flatness. Flatness is okay. Like over here on the garage, this is going to be a pretty flat garage in, I guess, like the grand scheme of things. I'm thinking the garage will go up, but where do we want to start the roof? Maybe we have 2 things of bone blocks, so we go there, and then we go up, and then up again. Something kind of like that. I think that'll be good. It'll be hard to tell until we get the roof in, but yeah, something like that, but very, very flat. You'll see more as we build it, but I'm not going to incorporate a lot of depth. You'll see what I mean about depth a little more as we start to do more of the build, but basically, don't worry about doing those log pillars, the separate sections, and then setting your wall back. It'll be fine. There are other ways to create depth that don't involve pillars on your build. So, Pam's garage will go right there. Again, not too sure what Pam will use it for. Maybe we do something like that. We could maybe fit a window in there. That could be cool. Now, the roof. At least on the garage, we're going to do a birch roof. I think that'll look really good. So if we do maybe 2 scaffolding right there, parkour over there, very nice, very nice. So we could do roof blocks sitting on here. Now the garage roof is going to be very, very basic. We will do a bunch of birch staircases. That'll be good. Up here though, that'll be birch slabs because, yep, we're at the top of the garage. So upside down staircase right there, and then that'll continue back down on the other side. Over here, we'll go ahead and extend the roof 1 more block down just to make sure things aren't too flat. So this is what I mean about depth. We're creating depth over here on the garage with something like this. The roof hangs off. That's gonna look good. I 90% guarantee. Saying 90% just to be safe, because I'm creating this from scrap here in my head. In my head it works and it looks great, but my Minecraft build visioning in my head is sometimes disconnected from reality a little bit. But something like that. That should be good. Then we'll come back and add more detail over there in a minute. Now the other side of the build. So this is where the quartz comes in. Unfortunately, we're gonna have to wait really quick, but we can make a bunch of quartz, and then we can make a furnace, because smooth quartz is one of my favorite things in Minecraft. The block is beautiful, but we don't have enough for the build, so we're gonna have to go ahead and give this a minute to smelt up. In the meantime, we can go back over here and work on the build a little bit more. I think the build should have windows that are 3 high, so we'll go 3 like that, and then we'll go ahead and go right across the front. Now, modern builds are kind of tricky. If you're struggling with the exact vision, the exact shape of your build, don't feel bad about looking up some house pictures. I mean, the world is it's full of houses. There are lots of houses in the world, and those houses conveniently are photographed and put online. So honestly, it's not a bad idea to use some sort of real estate website, or to literally just Google images and look at random pictures of houses. Maybe you'll find one that you kind of like. If you have 2 monitors, put that house picture on your second monitor, or if you don't, just study the picture and mess with things in a creative world first, then jump over into survival. If you're feeling pretty confident about your build, like I am, then just jump into survival and start building it, and if it looks bad, well, just tear it down. It's not that big of a deal. So, that's what we have now. That's good. That's cool. That's a nice base of the house, but I'm thinking that I'd like to do something fancy on the top. So, this porch should probably have its own roof, which means, well, not necessarily, but I don't want my porch roof to connect to the main roof. So, let's do this. Let's go ahead and go over here, do a corner block, then we can put more windows up here, and then start our actual top roof. So, that would mean we would go 2 blocks up, and this would go all the way along the front of the build. This house is going to be very dark, by the way, so we're going to balance things with the quartz, which is insanely bright, and the birch roof. I'm not the biggest fan of birch, but it works great in a modern build palette, and it helps balance things out. If we did dark oak or even spruce, things could look way too dark, which wouldn't look good at all. We need to have a little bit of balance when it comes to the color tones. So, hard to tell as to what's going on right now, but I think something like this is going to work really well. So let's check on the quartz. Okay, that's good. Let's go ahead and turn all of these into slabs. Yeah, we'll turn those all into slabs, and then we'll go ahead and do this right here. So temporary block right there for now. Then we do slab, and then no, we do slab right there, and then temporary block there, slab right there. Remove these 2 blocks. Now this thing, I think, will go all the way along the front of the build, and actually on the side as well. If we were to skip this on the side, this side could look really flat, which would be bad. We don't have any depth going on over here right now, which, yeah, like I just said, could be bad. So let's go ahead and do that, and then maybe we get fancy here and have the curve around the build, and this continues all the way to the back, and probably clean across the back as well, but not on the garage side, because we're going to do something a little different on that side. So this will keep going all the way over here, and I'll get more in a minute. But what do we have now? This should help the build a lot. Oh, yes, for sure. Oh, Pam, I think Pam's talking about being happy. I think that is the move to make. That is good. Now, this, something's going to need to happen here. Maybe we could plant plants on the side, but if not, we could do, like, the porch, but not have it be the porch, right? It's just, like, a random spot. Probably plants, though. Plants will probably help that out quite a bit, or even just raising the land over here. I'm not too sure, but I think it's probably time for me to go ahead and, well, I might have enough slabs to finish this, actually. The skeleton farm is amazing, by the way. That's how I got all of these bones. Ooh, that farm is great, and that's how I fixed up all of my tools after my nether trip. Yeah, it's great. But the back of the roof, this thing. So, I'm not too sure. I'm thinking maybe if we're going to end it, we should maybe end it one short of the side, but not 100% sure. We can come back later and mess with it. It's on the least important side anyways, the back side. The only thing over here is actually the spider farm. But the garage. So I'd like this garage to feel a little bit more modern, which means we're going to need some floor to ceiling windows. So window right there, block, and then window right there, block, and then finally window right there and block. And then I think we can just go straight across on the back and end the garage just like that. Or you know what, let's go one more block here and then do this. Instead of a window connected right to the back of the garage, we'll do this. So we'll have a little bit of a corner, and then in here, just more bone blocks, and then on top, lots of birch wood as well that I'll have to come back and get. In here, I guess we'll have one block right there, you know, to connect to the ceiling, because if we didn't, we'd have glass looking right at the back of one of these, which would be kind of weird. So we'll have windows that go like that. That'll be pretty modern, and it'll have a view of whatever we do over here with the spider farm, if we ever do that, or whatever neighbor building that I build in here for a different creature. But let's go ahead and just do this all the way on the back over here, and then leave room for a door. A door would be nice on the back of the garage, and then this wall just connects right over there. Okay, so we'll go ahead and replace these with cobblestone for now. I think that'll be good. We'll come back in here and get some mossy cobblestone for sure. But bunch of windows, a back door right here. That'll be good. And then the roof will go straight back over to here. Now it's time for me to check the quartz again, so we can talk about the final roof of this build. That's not going to be enough, but it'll work. Okay, so the final roof. To get up there, we're going to need scaffolding. Scaffolding is amazing. I love this stuff, but what I'm thinking of here is a roof that's similar to the garage one, but also different. So this time, we'll go ahead and line things with smooth quartz staircases, because again, these things are beautiful, and it'll bring these tones up even more onto the build. See, over there we have the white, and then over here the white. We're kind of balancing things like that. But anyways, we'll have a roof border with smooth quartz, and then in the middle we'll have a bunch of birch staircases, and this roof will go up a couple layers. So this side is 7 blocks wide, so I think if we were to go maybe 3 layers up, we should be good. But I'm at a point where I sort of need to wait again for more quartz to be sure, Unless I just use placeholders. Placeholders will work. It looks like we're about at the middle of the build here, so maybe 3 layers, but at the same time, maybe we just go 2 and then do a slab on the top layer. That might look really good. I think I'm going to have to wait. For now, I can do this roof over here. Now, by the way, this roof is going to be a little bit weird because it's completely different, but because of how we're running this roof in the opposite direction of this one, we'll have room to run this one just straight to the back of the garage. So that'll be the plan. We'll run it all the way back to here, and then I'll jump down here and get it in as well. So blocks right there, and then on the other side, everything is pretty straightforward. On the top of this roof, again, we'll have slabs running in there. A big tip that I have when it comes to building modern builds, or just builds in general, is to start simple with the shape. I think I mentioned it, but I didn't talk about it as much as I wanted to. But basically, just start with a square or a rectangle, and if you'd like to add more to it, you can have other squares or rectangles or even circles popping off of your initial shape. Creating an outline on the ground with just a random block can help you a lot in the beginning of your build. All right, so moment of roof. What do we do here? We go up, I think. Yeah, I had it right. We go up just like that. Then we can do slabs in the middle going right across, something like that. But up here, we could do 1 row of slabs. I think that'll look good. And then staircases there. And then on this very top one, maybe we go up 1 more with the white slabs and go all the way over to the other side. So that is the plan there. And then finally, again, for like the 3rd time, that's the plan over here. So now it's time for me to go ahead and I think catch this build up. Oh wait, one more thing. Maybe on the corners we do that just to make it look cool and fancy. I like to do things like that on my roofs. Let's see. Let's take a step back, like a good step back, and see. Scaffolding's in the way. I think that's gonna work though. I think that should be good. So time for me to go ahead and finish those roofs up and get our build to a good point for today's episode. Oh man, I'm feeling this build. I'm really happy with it. I've been walking around just standing and looking at it from different angles, because every time after I build something new, I'm curious to see how it kind of like blends into the background. But here we go. This is the house right now. Okay, hold on. That is the house right now. Would you take a look at it? I am so happy with it, but it's dark. It is very dark. So once we come back in here with the details, I think this thing is going to start to pop and look really good. Matter of fact, let's actually go ahead and start with some of the details right now. So we need a garage door on this place. The garage door will be done with spruce trap doors, because I think they look really good as a garage door. So maybe something like that. I don't know. We're gonna mess with it more in the next episode. So garage door right there, and then to make things a little more fancy, I think we could do slab, 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 slab. So we have an arch, of course. Beautiful, beautiful. Then the accent wood comes in, which is going to be oak. More on that in the next episode, though, probably. So there we go. We have a garage door with a little bit of an awning. What could Pam use it for? No clue at all. Now, the build, the windows. So in here, this is what I did. I have a big window over there and then a small one up there because that looks at the roof of the garage. I figured there's no point to look at that. Then back here, we have the same exact thing that I did on the front. And then, yeah, all of this is unchanged. So I think in terms of a glass color, we could probably do white stained glass. I think that'll probably look the best because if we did black, the build, if you haven't noticed, is very, very dark as it is. We need to lighten it up. So maybe lots of white stained glass panes in here. Again, this is all subject to change. We might change that in the next episode. But glass panes in there, and then glass panes up here as well to really highlight these windows. I think with the glass panes in, the windows will actually become noticeable, which would be amazing. I would love that. Maybe we could come back in and do a wraparound window there. That might be cool, kind of like this one, but at the same time, not too sure. Now, above the door, this is tricky. So I like the idea of putting another window there, but for now, I think we're just going to do black concrete and then the front door. So for now, dark oak wood front door because that's the most normal looking front door that Minecraft has given us. So something like that. We can definitely see the windows a whole lot more. That looks really, really good in my opinion. Let's go ahead and do this window right now, and then we'll probably just worry about the other windows later on when we start detailing the build. So doing things like I'm doing right now, like windows, doors, all of that, that's, in my opinion, technically detailing. Maybe not the windows, but the door and everything like that, definitely detailing. I always recommend saving the detail for the last step of your build. If you try and detail as you're working through, you have two outcomes here. Outcome number one, your build takes a long time, but once it's done, which is cool, but it's just going to take a long time. Outcome number two, you do a bunch of detailing, you realize something isn't right, maybe you have to adjust a wall or something, then you get to rip out all of those beautiful flowers and bushes you put in, and yeah, you basically just wasted your time. But one more thing before we end the episode. Remember how I said I was making this up on the go, just kind of going for it? Well, that was a half-truth. Take a look at this picture right here. So I mentioned earlier on something about Googling pictures, looking at houses and trying to recreate them in Minecraft. That's actually what I was doing during this episode. Now, this diagram is a little confusing because there's a floor plan in the middle, but take a look at the top half and more so the top half. Yeah, look at the top half. So this house looks very different than what I ended up building. You see, pretty different, but this house inspired this build a whole lot. We have a garage. It's on the opposite side, but we have a garage, and then we have the 3 window piece in the middle. Now on this house, it's super modern. One of those windows is actually a door, so it looks a little bit different, but I really, really like the whole 3 thing. I thought that looked great, and I wanted to incorporate that into the build. Higher up, above that section, we have the small windows. That's also what I did on this build. So long story short, don't feel bad about looking at pictures of real houses, especially if you're trying to build a more modern house. Looking at the house from over here, I definitely think this should extend one more block. That would just make a whole lot more sense, but overall, I am crazy happy with this build. I think it's turning out really, really well, and next episode, we'll see an even bigger transformation once we get those details in, but that is gonna be it for today's episode, Elites. If you enjoyed this episode, let me know. Do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and follow my Twitter, my Instagram, my other things. They're down in the description below. If you always see comments on the videos when they come out like early from like a couple days ago and you're confused about it, oh, that's because patrons get these episodes a little bit early and ad-free too. If you're into that, check out my Patreon. It's linked down below in the description. Today, I would like to send a big shout out, a big thank you to my patron, Malin312. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, Pam, stay healthy. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye.